Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
All right, so are you ready to dive into Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty?
Let's do it. I think listeners are going to love this one.
I think so, too, because it really digs into all these messy human relationships.
Oh, yeah. Moriarty is such a pro at capturing that stuff. You know how she just gets under the skin of her characters and...
Totally, and this book really gets you thinking about love and loss and all the ways our lives intersect.
You got it. And it's set against this backdrop of contemporary life, which makes it all the more relatable.
So, okay, let's set the stage. We've got Cherry, a seemingly ordinary woman who's on a flight to Sydney, and out of nowhere...
she starts predicting the deaths of other passengers.
Yeah, it's like she turns into some kind of modern-day oracle, except...
she's not all mystical and cryptic about it. She actually tells people how they're going to die, and even at what age.
It's kind of terrifying when you think about it. Like, can you imagine being on that plane?
I don't even want to think about it. Just picture the honeymooners, Eve and Dom. They're all lovey-dovey looking forward to their future together, and then bam.
Someone predicts Dom's demise. It's brutal.
It is. But Moriarty doesn't just throw that in there for shock value. You know?
Yeah, it's not just a gimmick.
No, it's way deeper than that. The way Eve and Dom react to this prediction, it really exposes who they are as individuals.
Oh, absolutely. It's like their deepest fears and insecurities all come bubbling to the surface.
Exactly. And it makes you think about how you'd react in that situation. Would you brush it off, or would it completely freak you out?
Right. Would you let it affect your relationship?
Totally. And that's just one example. Cherry's predictions, they end up touching every single passenger on that flight. It's like this ripple effect.
Because they're all dealing with their own baggage, right?
Oh, for sure. They've all got their own stories of love and loss and all the complicated relationships that come with being human.
Take Paula, for example.
Yeah.
He's this high-powered lawyer who's all about control.
Yeah, she's got it all figured out, or so she thinks.
Then Cherry drops this prediction about her daughter, and Paula just...
completely unravels. It's like all her carefully constructed walls just crumble.
And it's not just about the prediction itself. It's about how it triggers these deeper fears that Paula already had.
Like those anxieties about protecting her daughter and, well, maybe even some stuff from her own past that she thought she'd dealt with.
It's fascinating how Moriarty weaves all those layers together.
Yeah.
You know, showing how these seemingly separate lives are all connected in these unexpected ways.
It's masterful, and it makes you realize that none of us are really immune to those chance encounters that can completely upend our lives.
And speaking of chance encounters, let's talk about Cherry herself. She's not just some random fortune teller who popped up out of nowhere.
Oh, no, she's got her own story. A really heartbreaking one, actually.
Yeah, she's dealing with the recent loss of her husband, Ned. And it's clear that his death has completely shaken her world.
You can feel the grief radiating off of her. It's almost palpable.
I'm curious, what did you make of the connection between Cherry's predictions and her own journey through grief?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. I mean, is she seeking control in this world that suddenly feels chaotic and unpredictable?
Because she's lost the one constant in her life.
Exactly. Or is it something else entirely? Is it maybe a manifestation of her grief? A way to project her own fears outwards.
So instead of confronting her own mortality, she's focusing on the deaths of others.
That's a good point. And it's something that Moriarty doesn't give us an easy answer to, which I appreciate. It forces us to confront our own beliefs about grief and how it can manifest in different ways.
Totally. And that makes you think about how we all cope with loss differently. Some people withdraw, others lash out, and some...
maybe they start predicting the deaths of strangers on airplanes. Who knows?
Right. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. And I think Moriarty captures that beautifully in this book.
Agreed. She also does a brilliant job of weaving together the past and the present. You know how we get these glimpses into Cherry and Ned's relationship through flashbacks?
Yes. It's like we're piecing together their love story bit by bit.
Exactly. And each piece reveals more about their connection and the profound impact Ned's death has had on Cherry. Like those flashbacks with the brooch.
Oh, the brooch. Tell me you noticed that too.
Of course. It's this constant presence throughout the book. Cherry is always touching it, fiddling with it, almost like a lifeline to Ned.
At first, I thought it was just a quirky little habit. But as we learn more about its significance, it becomes so much more than that.
It's a symbol of their enduring love, but also a physical manifestation of Cherry's inability to let go.
And it adds another layer to the question of her abilities. She's touching this brooch imbued with the memory of Ned while making these predictions.
It makes you wonder, is she consciously channeling something from him, or is it more like her grief is unintentionally manifesting in this unsettling way?
It's like that brooch is acting as a conduit somehow.
And then there's the whole thing with Cherry's mother being a fortune teller.
Oh, yeah. Is that nature or nurture? Or maybe something else entirely.
It's like Moriarty is deliberately blurring the lines between fate and free will, challenging us to confront our own beliefs about destiny and the randomness of life.
I love how she does that. It's not just a straightforward story. It's making us think about these big questions.
For sure. And then there's the whole multiple perspectives thing. You know how Moriarty seamlessly shifts between characters' points of view?
It's brilliant. It keeps the story so fresh and dynamic. We're not just getting Cherry's perspective. We're seeing the same events through all these different lenses.
And it allows us to understand each character more deeply, their motivations, their fears, their hopes.
It's like she's creating a conversation rather than just telling a story,
I see what you mean. It's like we're invited to participate in the narrative, to form our own opinions about the characters and their choices.
And it makes you wonder how you would react if someone predicted your death. Would you be paralyzed by fear, or would you?
Try to live your life to the fullest, knowing that your time is limited.
It's a question that stays with you long after you finish the book.
And that's the power of Moriarty's writing. She doesn't shy away from these big questions. She tackles them head on and leaves us grappling with the implications.
It's like she's holding up a mirror to our own anxieties and desires, forcing us to confront those universal themes of life, death, and what it means to truly connect with others.
And she does it all with this blend of humor and pathos that is just so captivating,
Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
There are these moments of lightness and laughter that make the darker moments even more poignant.
Exactly. It's that balance that makes Moriarty such a master storyteller. So now that we set the stage and introduce some of the key players,
I think it's time to dig into some of those pivotal moments. Those scenes that really make you stop and think, and explore how Moriarty uses symbolism to add layers of meaning to these seemingly ordinary lives.
I'm ready when you are. Let's do it. So one scene that really stuck with me was the rooftop party accident in Perth.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was intense.
It's like straight out of a Greek tragedy, where fate is just toying with these characters.
Totally. Cherry has this vision of two people falling from a balcony.
And then it actually happens at the party she's attending.
It's like her premonition comes to life right in front of her.
It makes you wonder, is this proof that her predictions are real, or...
Is it just a horrible coincidence? I mean, statistically, freak accidents do happen.
Right. But it's the timing that's so unsettling. It happens right after she has the vision.
And we can't forget that she's still grieving Ned.
Oh, absolutely. Her emotional state is definitely a factor. Could it be that her internal turmoil is somehow manifesting externally?
Like her grief and guilt are so powerful that they're actually influencing events in the real world.
It's a mind-boggling concept.
Yeah.
And Moriarty doesn't give us any easy answers, which is part of what makes this book so thought-provoking.
It really makes you question the nature of reality. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about how our own experiences, especially those around loss, can color our perceptions of the world.
It's like we see what we're primed to see. If we're expecting something bad to happen, we might be more likely to notice those signs or even interpret neutral events as negative.
Yeah. And it's not just Cherry who's haunted by the past. Remember Paula, the lawyer?
Oh yeah, she's got that incident from years ago where she almost hit those pedestrians with her car.
It left this deep scar on her psyche, this fear of causing harm that she's never been able to fully shake.
And then Cherry's prediction about her daughter just amplifies that existing anxiety.
It's like her worst nightmare is coming true all over again.
Even though it's a different scenario, the underlying fear is the same. It's about losing control and causing unintended harm.
And what's interesting about Paula is that she's actually sought help for her OCD. She's developed coping mechanisms to manage her anxiety.
But Cherry's prediction cracks through those defenses. It's a reminder that even when we think we've moved on from trauma,
It can resurface in unexpected ways, especially when we're faced with situations that trigger those old fears.
it's like those wounds never fully heal. They just scab over and wait for the right moment to reopen.
And sometimes it takes a seemingly random event, like a chance encounter or an unsettling prediction, to bring those wounds to the surface.
So we've got Cherry, who's grappling with grief, and Paula, who's struggling with past trauma. And then there's this recurring symbol that I found really intriguing, the Kronecker delta.
Oh, yes. The mathematical symbol, I have to admit I was a bit confused by that at first.
Me too. It seems so out of place in a story about relationships and personal transformation.
But remember, Cherry has a background in mathematics, so it's not entirely random to her world.
True, but it still felt significant, like there was a deeper meaning there.
Well, the Kronecker delta in mathematical terms represents a function that identifies specific elements within a set.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the story?
Maybe Moriarty is using it metaphorically. To represent those moments of recognition, those seemingly insignificant encounters that can have profound impacts on our lives.
Like those chance meetings that change everything.
Exactly. It's like those points in time where our paths intersect with others and our destinies become intertwined.
And it's not always a positive thing either, right?
Sometimes those encounters can lead to heartbreak or tragedy.
But they always leave a mark. They shape who we are and who we become.
I think Moriarty is suggesting that even in the vastness of the universe, our lives are interconnected in ways we don't always perceive.
It's like there's this invisible web that connects us all, and these chance encounters are the points where those threads intersect.
It's a beautiful and terrifying thought at the same time.
But let's not forget that amidst all this seriousness, Moriarty never loses her sense of humor. Remember that scene with Sue?
Oh, the one where she gets the pancreatic cancer prediction?
Yeah, and she tries to comfort her friend by giving her the finger under the table.
I laughed out loud when I read that. It's such a Sue thing to do,
Totally. It's his perfect blend of awkwardness and dark humor, and it's so perfectly timed.
It's like this little reminder that even in the face of death, life can still be absurd and funny.
And I think that's important. It's not all doom and gloom. There's still room for laughter and joy, even when we're dealing with heavy stuff.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that life is complex, full of contradictions and unexpected turns. And Moriarty captures that beautifully in Here One Moment.
So we've talked about the weight of these pivotal moments, the recurring symbols that add layers of meaning, and Moriarty's ability to blend humor and pathos.
But what about the ending? How does she wrap up all these threads, these lives touched by chance, and these unsettling predictions?
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. Does Moriarty offer resolution?
Or are we left grappling with the same questions about fate, choice, and the unpredictable nature of life? Stay tuned.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from Cherry's unsettling predictions to those pivotal moments that make you question everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how does Moriarty bring this complex story to a close? Does she tie everything up neatly?
Well, she doesn't exactly give us all the answers, you know.
She's not going to spoon feed us.
No. But that's part of what makes this book so compelling. We're left to ponder those big questions about fate, free will, and the unpredictable nature of life.
So we don't get a definitive answer about Cherry's abilities.
Nope. We're still left wondering, are they real or a product of her grief?
It's up to us to decide what we believe.
Exactly. But what Moriarty does offer is a sense of hope. This idea that even in the face of loss and uncertainty, life goes on.
And we have the capacity to adapt and find meaning.
Exactly. It's not about getting stuck in the past. It's about finding a way to move forward.
Look at Eve and Dom, the honeymooners. They get hit with that death prediction early on, but they don't fall apart.
No, they don't. They actually use it as an opportunity to strengthen their relationship.
They face their fears head on and ultimately find a way to build a future together.
A future that acknowledges the fragility of life without being consumed by fear.
And what about Paula? Remember how she was spiraling after Cherry's prediction about her daughter?
Oh, yeah. She was a mess. But she eventually comes to terms with the fact that she can't control everything.
It's a hard lesson for someone like Paula, who thrives on order and control.
But it's a necessary one. We all have to learn to accept that life is inherently unpredictable.
And that sometimes the best we can do is manage our anxieties and seek help when we need it.
And Cherry, she experiences immense guilt when she learns about the accident in Perth, the one she predicted.
It's like she realizes the weight of her words.
Yeah.
The potential impact her predictions can have on others.
And she takes responsibility for that. She reaches out to Paula, offers a genuine apology.
It's a small step, but it shows growth.
It does. It demonstrates a willingness to acknowledge her mistakes and try to make amends.
And ultimately, she learns to live with the weight of her predictions. She finds solace in Ned's memory.
But she also opens herself up to new possibilities. It's not about forgetting the past.
It's about finding a way to integrate it into the present, to allow it to shape who you are without defining who you become.
Exactly. And that final scene, with Cherry watching Timmy win that Olympic gold medal.
Oh my gosh.
It's like Moriarty is saying, look, even in the face of our darkest fears, there's still hope, still beauty, still a reason to believe.
It's such a powerful image. The little boy who's drowning, she predicted, achieving this incredible feat.
It's a reminder that life is full of surprises, that sometimes the things we dread the most never come to pass.
And that even when we feel lost or uncertain, there's always something to be grateful for. Always a reason to keep searching for those one good things that make life worth living.
So what's the lasting impact of here one moment? What do we take away from this story?
I think Moriarty leaves us with a profound meditation on the interconnectedness of our lives, the weight of our choices.
And the power of those seemingly insignificant moments that can shape our destinies.
It's an invitation to slow down, appreciate the small things, and cherish those connections that give our lives meaning.
It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's still beauty to be found, love to be shared, and hope to be held on to.
This has been quite a journey exploring the depths of Liane Moriarty's Here One Moment. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
And that it sparks some reflection on your own experiences with love loss and the unpredictable nature of life.
What resonated with you most? What questions are you left pondering? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those stories that remind us of the beauty and complexity of the human experience. And that's a wrap for today's episode of BookerCast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.